I'm going to say there were two phrases I was expecting to hear in that session round, which I didn't. The first one is instant gratification. And it seems to me that quite a lot of what's happening in banking now is about instant gratification. Buy now, pay later, classic case. And the other phrase, speed to market. Because you talked about it, but you didn't use the phrase speed to market, so I'm disappointed. You made a point. But how do we meet that desire for instant gratification, your banking customers' desire, and how do we get that speed to market? Because there is no point. I know what seems to have happened is that project is a dirty word this morning. You're not allowed to do projects anymore because projects take too long. And it's true, because if you have a 12-month project and say, right, we're going to do this product, but it's going to take us 12 months to develop and get it to the market will have changed. It's too long. So, we bridge from banking in an increasingly digital world to our next session, which is utilizing the power of AI and analytics to foster innovation. And I'd say we could change that word foster to speed innovation, because that's the same thing. What you need to do now is you need to act fast. And I'm going to invite my colleague Chetan Parekh back on stage to host this next session.
So morning everyone again. So I'm between you and your coffee, so I'll keep it brief. And the panel title is clearly suggesting the huge power which AI is carrying. So utilizing the power of AI and analytics in speeding the innovation, as Robin says. Let me first start with inviting my panelists. Got an amazing 3 panelists today, all with 2 decades of experience. But of course, it'll be kind of unfair otherwise to introduce them. First, let me invite Khaled AlQassem. Khaled is Head of Product and Innovation at Banque Saudi Fransi. Khaled, warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
Khaled has been in industry for 2 decades. He has played multiple roles in the industry. He started his career with Banque Saudi Fransi, was there for almost a decade, doing multiple channel. And that time we used to have a channel and mobile wasn't there, so it was an internet banking channel and ATMs. And then he went on to Al Rajhi Bank and came back again in Banque Saudi Fransi. So he heads the innovation function and is introducing some of this new generation technology in the bank. Khaled, it'll be very, very interesting to listen to you today. Let me invite my second speaker, Shikho Malik. Shikho comes with, again, Shikho, please come over the stage. Shikho comes with multiple years of experience in global markets, and he was with Standard Chartered for a decade and a half, and he's worked in a very, very interesting markets in Europe, Asia, Malaysia, Singapore, across asset management and Islamic. So Shikho comes with, again, a very interesting insight, both from capital world, as we call the people from a buy side, and now within the banking community as well. So warm welcome, Shikho, to the panel. My third panel is a very different person, a person who started life in consulting, KPMG, and then founded a firm. So he is a FinTech founder, Srirang Shrikant. A very, very warm welcome to Srirang. So Srirang formed a very early stage company, Yethi, Y-E-T-H-I. Yethi innovated on a very interesting AI-based bot and platform allowing testing to be automated, right? So a lot of this automation we listened today. He founded a company 10 years back. And of course, the company is today growing to multiple thousand employees with multiple bots. And very recently, last year, the firm was invested by private equity capital, and now he's growing across markets. So Srirang, warm welcome, and it'll be great to hear from Srirang. So let's get started. So let me first start with AI and analytics. We did speak about it in the morning. So Khaled, my first question goes to you. Given you've been in products and everybody thought corporate would never become digital, it'll always become an RM driven. So what do you see when you look at the innovation at the bank? What do you see as the building blocks in the bank should have before they go down the innovation journey?
Okay. First of all, Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Thank you for having me here. I think the first block will be the bank management. They must have the mindset and the acceptance of the innovation itself, or having the journey, or let's say the opportunity to start with. So when we have the first block, which is the management, we'll then start with the right people being there with the right mindset, because innovative minds has to be part of the organization to drive or move whatever is needed as to be innovative. Third of all, the opportunity. Opportunity might come from the bank side or from the customer, where the bank will jump on the opportunity and try to create it or work on it as fast as possible. But if there was some obstacles or say approval or something, then the bank might have the, let's say, the speed to partner with a fintech that could offer the service or have it ready. Then we'll compile all of this to give something to the end user. So it has to be starting from the higher management of the bank itself or the organization, coming down to people with innovative minds and mindset to accept whatever the leaders give them. Third of all, having, let's say, a fintech ready or the bank itself to offer whatever's required by them. Then the last will be the customer, which will be the demanding customer, where we will offer him whatever based on his original requirement or something that could be packaged and offered to others. Because in banks, we don't commonly give it to one user. We find a way to have a product that will work with multiple users to maximize as much benefit as we can. So this is in
Excellent. So again, it goes back to the three key learnings, which I think Khaled is highlighting. One, culture, which is built by the leaders and the management team, followed by people who make it happen. So if anybody thought AI will do it all by itself, that's not necessarily true. And then again, interesting culture and the product launches which people do. Khalid, very, very interesting thought process. Srirang, when you look at this and you founded a firm, FinTech, which has disrupted the testing, software automation, quality assurance mindset. And now people have understood that it's not really beyond disruption, it's collaboration, which banks are doing. So how do you see this working together with the bank in adding value from a FinTech perspective?
I have this. Right. Thanks, Chetan. So I think, the previous panel talked about FinTech and bank being a collaborative partnership. And we see it every day as being a very collaborative partnership because FinTechs will innovate, FinTechs will find niches. Banks bring in the regulatory structure to ensure that you are operating within the regulatory framework. It is not necessary that you adopt everything a FinTech provides to you. In India, we have this situation where FinTechs partner with multiple banks. And depending on your risk appetite, depending on your internal processes, you can pick up any pieces of whatever the FinTech offers. And it is a long-term journey because you're not going to you don't have the resources to solve for everything. And FinTechs have the funding, FinTechs have the mindset. What we are seeing is customer journeys are becoming you're slicing customer segmentation extremely thin. So we've had FinTechs who said, I will only look at grocery stores, urban grocery stores. That kind of segmentation is not possible for a bank. That kind of segmentation is only possible with a FinTech or a financial lending institution, but they don't have the financial wherewithal to service all these customers. They can acquire, but they will rely on a bank to fund it, right? You may have someone else who's only looking at school fees as a product. So this is something you'll find that fintechs will come, they'll offer very niche products, they'll offer very niche onboarding journeys which customers want. Customers are essentially looking at self-service convenience, and fintechs will provide that, and therefore it becomes a long-term partnership because these businesses are going to continue to evolve and grow.
Very, very interesting. So again, it goes back to how you leverage the fintech very clearly, and how do you solve your small problems with intelligent automation solutions, right? That's where Srirang is highlighting.
Can I add one point?
Sure, Khaled.
Some of the problems in fintechs when they have the idea or they create something, they create it on their own point of view and mindset. They don't know what the bank could offer them. So they may have a great idea.
Yeah, we can hear you.
That's okay. But how will the bank, this is the main issue. How will it be done? Is there for it? Or it will, let's say, serve whatever dream they have.
No, absolutely. So again, what we've normally observed is when the fintech comes with an idea gets verified, there has to be a problem which bank has to see, which fintech is solving for a segment of customer which needs to get the solution. So it's only based on actual need that you solve a problem. So normally, way we see this other way, where banks actually approaching that I have a mass segment and I want to go into mass segment with a certain offer, but do you have an end-to-end digital journey available? And then take it forward. So it's a meeting of minds, and then you look at who are the top 3 fintechs doing this customer service, right? So it's always solving the problem. Let me now take it to Mr. Shiko, and you have a very different perspective because you worked in many more markets than many of us, right? So right from Asia to Europe and across industry, you work across Islamic trade finance, transaction banking, asset management, yeah? So when you look at the broader financial service industry, how has the investment management embraced the fintech and AI technology? And again, which are the biggest success story you've seen in the markets where you've operated? And are there lessons Kingdom needs to take from some of these success stories?
So I think I'll just, as you rightly said, I'll share some experiences, because 3 weeks has been a steep learning curve for me about the Kingdom. I remembered the Kingdom of which I used to come to till 2015, and I'm not going to say anything more than that. And then I see this Kingdom, it's a totally different Kingdom. So somebody rightly said, this economy is on, and the country itself in terms of progression is on steroids. I can just try to keep pace with the move itself. But having said that, I want to give a totally different perspective to the discussion altogether. We've been taking a banking view of things. Bank has different types of clients, retail clients, institutional clients, and within the institutional base, there's a client base which is asset managers who require banking services. And sometimes what happens is, I classify asset managers as 2 types, captive and non-captive. Captive asset managers are the ones which are in-house asset managers of an insurance company, and let's say even in-house asset management arms of banks. And non-captive are the standalone asset managers. Irony is, when you are a part of a captive asset management firm owned by a bank or another financial institution, sometimes you're taken for granted. In terms of priority of being a client, you are stacked somewhere last towards the end of the priority list. While this misses the opportunity altogether. An asset management firm channelizes hundreds of clients to its bank in a way that most of the hard work has been done by the asset manager itself. And the bank is getting a refined stream of client base coming into the bank, not realizing that all the onboarding, KYC, customer services hassle is being managed by the asset manager itself. Therefore, asset management in certain ways is a bit more agile when it comes to adoption of FinTech and AI as compared to banks. We had a speaker who had a view of how FinTechs could be out of sync with the banks. That's true. But if somebody tells me that bank has built the best FinTech services, I won't believe that person. It's not the DNA of a bank. I've worked all my life for banks, all right? So don't get me wrong. It's not in the DNA of a bank to be innovative in a way, because there's so many inherent restrictions for the right reasons. You have 5 layers of approvals to go through. FinTech has 1 layer of approval, all right? They have an idea, they start working on it, and people like Shiri who build companies, they say, this sounds good, the business case is right, yalla, let's go for it, all right? While in multi-tiered banks, the DNA inherently, which is there for the right reason, does not allow that level of innovation. So what we do in the banking environment is we dress up ourselves by putting on an innovation jacket, while there is no innovator underneath the jacket. It's just the innovation jacket we are utilizing. And we believe we are the best of innovators. Unfortunately, we aren't. So in asset management industry, what has happened is people have started transforming themselves into innovators before they go to and buy the innovation jacket from the market. And asset managers are the first ones which, as per my experience, realize that they cannot do everything by themselves. So they look for best of breed partners. So if I need advice on this region, on how to build a strategy on digital, Chetan, most probably you'll be on my list for me to call you, all right? That's not my day job, that's not my DNA. I want to make sure whatever we are delivering, we are agile and we are delivering quality. Shri would be my first port of call. And then I need an efficient banking partner so that the cash moves with the speed of an asset manager, not speed of a retail client. I'm going to be looking at Khaled. So I keep my core, innovative core to myself, and I utilize the best of breed plug and play service providers. I don't have to be 3-in-1 myself. So I think asset management in the industry has an opportunity to prove to the wider capital markets, banking, and financial industry that you can still be innovative, but you just need to make sure that you're going for the right partnerships and you're attacking the right area in terms of the strategical focus.
So Shiko, that's very, very interesting. So 3 key messages I think from Shiko also. First and foremost, banks aren't the place where end-to-end innovation will happen. It has to be product management and innovation team, management culture, as well as the FinTechs coming together and putting an idea to the action, right? So that's very clear. Also, in his global experience, he is seeing banks same as what Kingdom is. So it's nothing unique in Asia or Europe he has seen. It's all bank enabling the innovation to the market using the right technology. And I think the third, which is very, very important, is look at the segments carefully, asset management, commercial, corporate, or a mass or a retail. Focus on your segment and then work the solutions. Khaled, when we look at all of these technologies, AI, any kind of ML innovations, when you look at regulator and regulators' perspective, of course, SAMA has been a very, very strong regulator, and it's like one of the global benchmarks when it comes to security and customer protection. How do you see the regulator landscape helping your innovation journey at the bank?
Okay. So first of all, I would say that the regulator will be like the safe lines that will moving on. And as we discussed yesterday, you'll be running all the time. So you must be in the safe side of the regulation to assure that no violations are happening, customer satisfied, security, many aspects. Because some of the ideas, when they start from the FinTech or from the bank side, it sounds good. But what's behind it? From work, from security, from keeping everything safe. يعني when we give an AI information, will it be shared with another person reading there? If I talk as a banker and disclose some of my information, how will the AI have the machine learning without disclosing any information. So most of the guidelines provided from the central bank or any other regulator has to be covering whatever we're moving very fast to. So it's, for me, I see it's something helpful that will guide us. And they are, I think, very flexible when you have any modifications, something to be added. They're always hearing and amending at time. Similar when aggregation started in Saudi Arabia. It was something new. How will someone work on behalf of the bank offering its services or selling something on their behalf? It was easy. More regulation came with time, maturity, which caused us or made us reach now the certain level that it's acceptable, and it's not the, let's say, the last step. As I think Mr. Ghandour said, there is no expiry or there is no end date. We'll have to innovate, continue, move in that direction. Some things may occur, incidents that will change the whole direction. But banks always want to play it safe. That's why we partner with the fintech that will allow us to move faster or have, let's say, less approval layers.
And when you look at the bank and, Sama comes up with initiatives like Sandbox and Makken Program for FinTechs, is it bank full-wholeheartedly participating, or bank is waiting for Sama to put together the whole sandbox and approvals and then act on it? How do the banks see the Sama's movement?
It's two approaches. Sometimes Sama will come with something that banks has to obey or start with. And in some cases, one of the banks will start something that a regulation will come after that. So it's never one way to do it. So it's both ways. Either a bank will start something, will Sama will realize and put some regulation for it, or Sama will give some regulation for banks to follow, then it will get maturity the more that we use it, or let's say more cases that arise for it.
So clearly, Khaled, I think you articulating that Sama, not only being the strongest regulator, is also moving, enabling Kingdom's banking industry towards fintech with the Sandbox and Makken Program. And the way you see it's a dual handshake, where regulator pushing industry towards more customer friendly and banks pushing Sama to allow some of the innovations on the AI analytics.
Because everything we're doing will come always back to customer satisfaction. What we do, is it okay? Did it solve some issues? Did it help us reach something new, a new step for us?
So again, moving Srirang to you as a fintech, and when you see suddenly ChatGPT pushing the AI conversations into the boardroom, and very few of us understand ChatGPT or an AI model, how I can apply in my bank, how I can apply in my daily life. So how do you see, as a fintech vendor, banks should take this up, and how do you intend to help in Yati in specific?
Yeah, thanks for the question. AI and the models which underpin this, I have used them in 99, and when I used them in 99, it was already 25 years old. Right? So what's essentially happened is two things. One is we have moved from being able to look at structured data and do prediction-based structured data to today you have things which are completely based on unstructured data. Contracts, digital contracts, contract negotiations, analysis of documents. Those are things where we are seeing AI being used, where you're trying to improve speed to market. Some of the things that we are working on essentially is to take documents and say, how do we test out a system which is based on such documents? So, crunch a design process which could take, a test design process or a QA design process, which could take about 6 weeks to can we do it in 2 weeks, right? So you're going to, as AI adoption increases, what's going to happen is you're going to move, the co-pilot model is something I think which is here to stay, and you're going to have AI assist humans in churning through large volumes of data and large volumes of unstructured data and say, these are the points which you should review. These are the things which I would recommend. And then you have a human oversight which says, okay, I agree, I disagree, and this is how we move forward. And this is going to become a feedback model where you're going to have significant improvement over the once you start using it. So the idea is it's a journey. It's not going to, vendors are going to come, they're going to bring in technology which today may be unproven or may give you results which are 30% accurate. But as you start using it with your information, with your data, these technologies are going to self-correct, and you're going to get to better and better results over the next few years. The idea is you adopt now, because that data is unique to you, that learning and insight is unique to you. You cannot bring in learning and insight from a neighboring bank. So invest now, even if the technology is not at the level of maturity you think it should be.
Sure. So I think very clear message from a fintech founder that leverage generative AI and AI models to look at your data instead of a human. That will be much, much faster and better, and then use human angle to take decisions and actions. Right? That's the key message. Siko, last question to you, and you have a very interesting background that you worked for Islamic organizations. Do you see the pace of AI, analytics, innovation, the whole automation piece in Islamic industry having the same pace, or is it a different when it comes, because it's more document-driven business?
So, in my opinion, first, I'm not going to answer your question right away, Chetan, sorry for that. Somebody asked, last panel, what are the major opportunities in Saudi Arabia? 3 weeks in Riyadh, if I had the money and land, I would build car parks. That's a major opportunity in Riyadh. So coming back to the question itself, Islamic financial industry, in my personal view, has been evolving at a faster pace, not because it's better than its conventional cousin, but because it started late. So it had to catch up. So if I say they were fast, it would be unfair to the conventional industry. They weren't fast, they were catching up. But they were not that warm to innovation right away as major established conventional banks were. So if you compare both, I think Islamic was lagged behind for some time. But if you see the evolution over the last 7 years, and I believe Saudi Arabia has this region, and Malaysia has a major role to play in that, where they acted as the catalyst. So Saudi is the biggest Islamic banking market you can think of today. In my opinion, Saudi was, as an Islamic market, was sitting on its hands, it's an English expression, for about 15 years. And suddenly they figured out we are really big and we can lead. Why would a smaller country in South Asia lead Islamic banking? So when Saudi decided to lead, the good thing was Saudi decided to lead on the back of technology, not on the back of capital or balance sheet. So that's where I see over the last 5 to 6 years, the pace of Islamic banking and Islamic finance has been phenomenal. And I think in certain cases, they are even more agile than the conventional bank. Because sometimes if you're an Islamic window owned by a conventional bank in certain markets, you'll be as agile as your parent. But with standalone Islamic banks in Saudi and the region, I see agility where in certain cases is more than the conventional ones. I'll just take 2 minutes of going on a rant slightly on a different. The general reaction of banking units or financial industry towards fintech is the first meeting, yeah, have a coffee and leave, mate. All right, I've heard you. All right, that sounds too good to be true. If we invest in the meeting beyond that meeting with the fintech partner, you would see your own attitude change dramatically. I've gone through that learning process myself, where a fintech firm from Luxembourg came over because the CEO and I had worked together somewhere. He came over, I knew him, I bought him a good coffee, and whatever he told me, I said, yeah, well done, mate, good for you, good for Luxembourg, wish you all the best, and hope he doesn't come back and waste my time again, all right? But they were persistent. A fintech is persistent, all right? They know what problems they can solve. And actually, if the fintech is only trying to solve a problem, they're a step behind. A fintech should be solving problems for me or an institution and should be thinking on my behalf, because I'm too busy with my BAU. I'm too busy with my real-time requirements of an institution. So those fintechs you would see have done really, really well, who have solved my problems, that's the base, and who have started thinking on my behalf. So this Luxembourg firm, in my previous life, we rolled out a DLT-based platform for the asset management industry, and I was commercializing, meeting all the big names, and I thought I was selling a very innovative idea. And the two of the clients came back during the meeting and said, this is all too good, but can you build a front end for me? I'm not a tech guy, so I wasn't selling a tech solution. But when you talk to the client, whether it's a bank or an asset manager, you'll get business opportunities to innovate. And how do you innovate? You again turn to your fintech partner. So I always would share a free advice. When a fintech firm comes to me, I have no investment in fintechs. The only investment I did, I got 0 return, so I'm not vouching for any or marketing. Please listen to them, give them a second chance. The first meeting is always yeah meeting. Get over that yeah feeling, give them a second chance, and you'll always find opportunities to do and partner with them and do well.
So last question, again a rapid fire from my side, and again linked to what you just mentioned, that if each one of you had 100 million, which real use case fintech would you invest in? I'll start with Srirang, you this time.
Embedded finance or banking as a service, one of these. I see huge long-term potential in that area.
Wonderful. So it's aligned to what previous panel also mentioned. Khaled, if you had the money, what would you be investing in?
For me, in machine learning and AI, because I know it will replace maybe some jobs, but it will create new ones. So being in that, let's say, chair, will allow me to understand more. When I feed it information, how will it learn? In what direction? When I say STP, how will it understand it? So investing in that, the machine learning should take the information from the, let's say, the person providing. When they know it, they know him better, then he will be able to provide us better answers. So a huge investment in that side, I think, will shape many things in a better direction.
So clear message for our kids should be data scientists then. That's what Khaled is investing in. Last, Shikho, from your perspective, where would you invest in? And as an asset manager, it'll be very interesting to listen to you.
Very selfishly speaking, I would invest in building front ends for asset managers. Everybody I've heard today has talked about user experience and user interfaces, which are the tools for user experience. Investment on that end is not up to the mark. As per my view, I would invest in building interfaces because that is the change. So if you talk to asset managers, would you give me 6% returns or 20% returns? If the market is giving you 6, he might, if he's a stellar asset manager, he might or she might give you 6.5%. So there's no differentiation in terms of projects. It's how that product is wrapped and how is it delivered to you. Your experience of buying that product and living with that product is what is going to make you buy from that specific asset manager. Therefore, I would invest in user experience and UI.
So clearly 3 different ideas from 3 different personalities around, but a common that they will all invest into a future which is relevant from the banking community perspective. Big thanks to all of you. Any questions from the audience?
I'm Magesh, Director of FinTechs Technologies. So I have a question particularly. SAMA is playing a major role, particularly in the regulatory aspects. But nowadays, they have transformed themselves to become an ecosystem-friendly partner to boost the digital banking as well as the other facilities for the banks. Especially, I can appreciate from the architectural as well as the infrastructure point of view, what they have provided for the model bank as well as the sandbox facility. As a banker, what are you expect more from the SAMA and the friendly partnership enabler performing good in the going forward, especially in the first innovation segment of the banking industry, even as part of the FSDP 2030? This is my.
Khaled, you want to take this? So what do you expect from Sama
First
as a
of
part of
all,
enabler?
where is my 100 million? I would always expect support. This is what we all need. Support in understanding the idea itself, support in moving it forward, support in having the right, let's say, mindset of people, which is already there, yani. To work, to advance, because sometimes the way that you work or the way that you are exposed in your career, you will have a certain mindset. To have something innovative and new, you need a dynamic mindset to understand or see the opportunity. Or as he previously said, the first meeting will always be, yes, okay. So even from there, you need someone that's understanding, that will fly with the idea and see what's the possible opportunities or outcome to come with. Because they will never be able to accommodate everyone, every idea, every opportunity. There has to be something solid, understanding. So both sides has to be, let's say, fair to each other. This is what I could offer you right now. Something has to be clarified or offered correctly. So it has to work from both sides.
Could I just quickly?
Sure.
I'm not SAMA regulated, so I'm safe. I think if you have a regulator which is allowing sandboxing capabilities, you have a regulator which has a view on the future, you're in the best market on the planet of Earth. Because generally, regulators follow the market, all right? And follow the market at a slow pace, generally. If you have a regulator who's leading the market, this is a dream come true. So I think Saudi at this stage is a prime position to be enabled by the regulatory authority and the government. And the last point from my side on this would be for the regulator to stay that way and agile, the word you used, and I really like it. To stay agile is to make sure that there's a circulation of fresh ideas and blood and talent picked up from the industry and put back in the industry so that you have an inherent understanding of the industry and you're not only depending on white papers for feedbacks or session on feedbacks. So this is a perfect situation. One could be in Saudi. Sustainability is going to be the question over the next 5 to 7 years.
Excellent. Thank you so much.